The Gordie Howe International Bridge, one of the largest infrastructure projects connecting Canada and the States, has recently become part of a debate over funding trade bilateral relations. Today, we are asking Canadians about what they think. Have you been following the recent discussion about the Gordie Howe Bridge? What have you heard about it?
So I have been following.
What have you been hearing?
It's desperately needed. The guy that owns the Ambassador Bridge, how an individual is allowed to own a bridge shouldn't be allowed. But yeah, it's going to be good for Canada's trade.
Some people see the bridge as a symbol of cooperation, while others see it as a reminder that national interest always comes first. Which perspective do you agree more with?
Well, I agree. It is a symbol of friendship, but not yet. There's still complications there.
I feel like opening the economy or the bridge again would change and help the economy, right?
Okay.
You know, lots of people nowadays opening businesses and having new ideas. So they might want to bring that to the States. They might want to bring their business to the States or bring their business to Canada, right? And then with that bridge being closed, they don't have that opportunity, right? So it being open, it's more opportunity.
The Gordie Howe International Bridge, one of the largest infrastructure projects connecting Canada and the States, has recently become part of a debate over funding trade bilateral relations. Today, we are asking Canadians about what they think. Have you been following the recent discussion about the Gordie Howe Bridge? What have you heard about it?
So I have been following.
What have you been hearing?
It's desperately needed. The guy that owns the Ambassador Bridge, how an individual is allowed to own a bridge shouldn't be allowed. But yeah, it's going to be good for Canada's trade.
The bridge was largely financed by Canada under the original agreement, while the U.S. was expected to contribute in other ways over time. Do you think the original deal was fair to both countries, and why not?
It was fair because we're building it and we're paying for it. It's the only way it was going to get built. So I think it was fair for Canada.
There have been reports that the U.S. administration wants to revisit, and obviously they have also revisited it. Should the previous agreement be reopened? And now that it has been reopened, what do you think?
Change should be the same. We paid for it. We built it. It's our bridge.
If you were advising, let's say, the Canadian government, what would you recommend? Should the Canadian government, should they have hold on so firmly and said, no, we're just sticking to the original agreement? Or should they be flexible in some ways?
No, absolutely should stick to the original agreement.
Why do you think so?
Again, no. We built it and paid for it. Yeah.
Do you sometimes cross to the border?
Recently? No.
Not recently.
Used to go across a lot.
Okay, but not
the last
recently.
few years.
Then again, the bridge is expected to strengthen trade and travels between Canada and the U.S. What are the importance you think the bridge will bring? Do you think it will bring jobs? Do you think it will bring businesses?
In normal situations, it would be very important. Right now, who knows? There's a terrible person down there.
We can only hope, right?
There's a terrible person down there.
We can only hope, right? So
that's all I'll say.
And do you think it will strengthen the economy of Canada in any way?
Yes, it will.
It will, right? Yeah. And even importantly, a lot of Canadians also have families over there, right? Do you think it will bridge the gap within families and friends?
Yeah.
In terms of travel?
It'll help.
Okay, a little bit, okay. Do you also think that the situation reflects border shifts in Canada-U.S. relations? Or is it simply a disagreement over specific projects?
It's the fault of one person. And until he's gone, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
We just have to live by it
live by it, but we got to protect ourselves.
Do you think Canada should keep readjusting or just, stick to one deal and that will be it?
We need to stick to one deal because no matter what we do, he's going to change. Whatever upsets him or offends him one day to the next, he's going to change.
What message do you think you will be sending to the government of Canada in terms of cooperation with the states and future infrastructure and trade agreements?
Got to look after ourselves. It's quite clear that individual in the States is attacking us. We need to look after ourselves now.
Looking after ourselves will require that we provincial trade business restriction. Do you think we should kind of lift all of that and allow Canadians to work freely, trade freely among themselves?
Yes, absolutely.
And how do you think that will help the economy?
It'll just give more opportunities across the country for everybody. more chances to do business, trade, sell our products, whatever. Right?
So looking ahead, what would you like to see in terms of the both countries? Do you think they should resolve their issues and strengthen the relationship and partnership?
Should always strengthen, but now we've seen what can happen, so we need to, again, we just need to protect ourselves. We need to look for other people or other countries. You know, we can't be one country anymore, right? Like we got to look to other countries to trade and be partners with as well.
And diversifying, I believe one of the largest goods that we import to the States is the oil and gas, especially the one in Alberta, right? Do you think the opening of those corridors too, we should continue just unleash all of them?
And find all those potentials anywhere in the world that they are.
And all the mineral resources, everything we need, just like even the Premier of Ontario used to say, we have so many resources, we should tap into them and go all the way to utilize them.
To work where anybody around the world, but with people who are reliable, right? Reliable partners. If they sign a deal, they stick to it and not decide to change it based on how they're feeling one day.
The Gordie Howe International Bridge is more than just new crossing between Canada and the States. It's a symbol of economy and political relationship between the two countries. But recent developments surrounding the project have sparked conversations around leadership, cross-border cooperation, and Canada interests. They're asking Canadians what they think. How closely have you been following the recent news around the Gordie Howe Bridge, and what stood out the most for you?
Well, I hope it does open up successfully, but I think it's going to be well-deserved for the truck traffic, for the economy, for both countries. But I hope there's no political interference.
I'm glad you even mentioned the truck drivers, because they are key stakeholders, when it comes to this Gordie Howe Bridge. The fact that it's going to ease movement, between the States and Canada. When two close allies disagree over major projects like the Gordie Howe Bridge, what do you think is the best way for government to resolve those differences?
In this day and age right now, I don't know. One of them won't listen, and the other one has his own ideas, and Canada seems to be, I don't know, honestly. I don't follow it that closely. I haven't followed it that closely.
That's fair enough. Do you think Canada does enough to protect the interests of Canadians negotiating with the other partners, with the States, as regards to the Gordie Howe Bridge, and why not?
Well, I think our government is taking a different approach, and they're going to, if they get stopped at the bridge or whatever, they're going to reroute their economy or their trade to other countries. I think that'll help Canada.
Some people see the bridge as a symbol of cooperation, while others see it as a reminder that national interests always come first. Which perspective do you agree more with?
Well, I agree. It is a symbol of friendship, but not yet. There's still complications there. Hopefully we can iron them out and move forward.
The Gordie Howe Bridge is going to be open July 27. Obviously, by the time we'll be publishing this, most likely it would have been open. Do you think that the government of Canada having to, have a conversation and have the bridge open is better than just having back and forth, conversations and just allowing the bridge to be closed? What do you think about that?
I agree. Get the bridge open and let the governments iron things out behind the scenes. Get the bridge open and get it going.
That approach seems to be much more better.
Yeah.
Do political disagreements between leaders have a lasting impact on the relationship between Canadians and Americans? Do you feel that way too? Political disagreement, do you feel that it's having impact on families, on friendship, just among ordinary Americans and Canadians?
Just 2 days ago, I met with two of my American cousins in St. Catharines here. We went for lunch. They came up, they're from Buffalo originally, and they're not fans of their government. And we were talking quite a bit about that, and they wish things would iron out better between the two countries. But I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody seems to know.
At the same time, do you think people to people, family to family ties still remain strong regardless?
Yeah, I had hoped to go to Cape Cod next October, but I don't think I'm going to do it because of what's going on, the political turmoil. I'd love to, because my wife and I had been there 45 times over the years. So I'd love to go back one more time, just for memories. And I don't know whether I'm going to go or not. I'm really
Indecisive about it?
yeah.
Maybe take your time, reflect on it, and make your decision. What lessons should Canada take from the Gordie Howe Bridge project when planning future infrastructure? You remember that Canada funded it upfront, pay all the costs.
Yeah.
Looking ahead now, what approach do you think Canada should take when it comes to planning future infrastructure projects with international partners like the U.S.?
It's hard for me to say. I don't know enough about it. I get the odd thing on my phone that I see, and that's about all I know about it, really. And I don't know whether that's gospel or not. You never know what's coming on the Facebook or internet or whatever.
Yeah, some people believe that, okay, maybe going forward in future projects, maybe Canada should split the cost, with your international partners while you are building it, okay? Or maybe pay all the upfront cost. And maybe when the whole project is done, then you can now begin to think of recouping what you spent, your expenditures, and start sharing profit afterwards. So either approach is okay, it's fine, but it all depends on the approach that the government wants to take.
Are there any more upcoming projects between the two countries? I don't know. Maybe after this.
Maybe not.
But I don't know what else would be required.
I'm sure government never see this coming, right? Because again, maybe it has always been, things will always be the way it has always been. These are two nations that have been like friends, families for not decades, centuries. You know what I mean? Yeah,
So
absolutely.
like I say, my cousins are originally from Buffalo.
Yeah.
We used to go back and forth all the time to visit them. And even up to a year and a half ago, my wife and I used to go over for 2 or 3 hours just to go over and have lunch and do a little bit of shopping and come back and forth. But
But you've not done that like in a year now.
I know I haven't. I'm thinking about doing it one day just to try the system, but I don't know. I'm nervous about it. I got nothing to hide, but I'm still nervous
About it.
Yeah.
Then if you could send one message to the leaders of both countries, maybe you could take Canada first and you take United States second. So if you could send a message to these two countries' leaders as the bridge began its next chapter, what would you say?
Well, so far, I'm from what I've read, I'm glad for what's happening, how he's treating everything. For Canada, yes. For the United States, I don't know. I'm afraid to say anything. I'm not happy with what's going on. Like I said, I don't even want to go over for the day. I'm nervous to go over for the day. Although I've got a lot of friends that have done it, and they've had no problems.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
But I hope they can kiss and make up, iron everything out. I don't know whether it'll ever happen or not.
Part of your message would be that they could maybe still work things together, work it out.
That would be
great, right?
A miracle if it ever happened. I don't think it's going to happen. Not in my life. Not with these two leaders.
From your experience, whenever you cross border, do you notice any delay, or do you just have it smoothly to go through?
Usually going across is a very smooth trip.
Do you think that such a project, you can describe it as a good initiative for Canada to strengthen the relationship between the two countries?
I do think so,
Okay.
but obviously, with the government, right? The government is the leaders at the leaders at the end of the day. So I think they get the last say. If we were to say something, okay, yes, we have our own opinions, but at the end of the day, I feel like the government has the last say on everything.
Do you also have that same belief?
Yeah, I do believe it, yeah.
Government is also finding ways to go through different projects, not just only bridge, right? And there are so many other projects, initiatives within, Canada, and also find a way to strengthen relationship with the U.S. as well. even though the government is also finding ways just divest to other countries as well.
Right.
So on the bridge, do you think that the original deal was also good?
Right.
Do you think in terms of trade deal, Canada seems to be getting along with the States?
I feel like, yeah, Canada is probably doing a little bit better with trading with the U.S. Again, I'm not into politics,
Okay.
so I can't really give you a solid answer on that. I'm just kind of giving you what I feel like,
Yeah, 100%.
what it is, right? But I'm a Christian man, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, so I feel like we should all just get along. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Sometimes, you have children of the same family,
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
get along sometimes.
Yeah.
And at some point, they kind of have a meeting point,
Exactly.
compromise in many ways. Because again, Canada and the States has always been like a
Brother and
family,
sister, brother, kind of thing,
and they kind of do a lot of things in common.
Right.
So even though things might be, not going the way as expected, are you very optimistic and positive that things will even get better
Yeah,
between the two
I
countries?
hope so.
Okay.
I hope it will. And based off what I have seen so far, I think Canada is really doing a good job when it comes down to trading. As for the US, sometimes it may get a little bit difficult for Canada, I would say, when it comes down to the trading aspect. As Tyler said, I don't really know too much about it, but based on the small amount of information I've gotten from the news, I'm hoping that things and time will get better for both parties.
For both
Right.
countries,
Yes.
to get together. So Canadian leaders has emphasized the importance of honoring original agreement, as it relates to the bridge itself. But sometimes too, you find out that the state may not necessarily have to go along with the original agreement. Do you think the fact that the government of Canada having to shift a little bit just to allow the bridge to open is a good way to go?
I think adjustment is good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes some people are in their ways way too much, where they can be stubborn. They can be, stubborn even, right? And then, I'm stubborn myself. So I get in my ways, you know what I mean? I get in my ways, I do. So if someone tells me something and I don't want to hear it, that's it, right? You just don't want to hear it. But I feel like we have to all come together and
And work together.
work
Yeah,
together.
we all have to work together. It works out better for everybody, right?
100%,
So win-win.
100%.
The more you delay the opening of the bridge,
Yes.
the more you keep losing resources, right?
Right.
Because if you keep saying, oh, no, we're not going to agree to this, we're not going to agree to that, and we know how strong the state is, especially with its current administration. In fact, there was a post from Trump himself that Canada has decided to disinvite the United States from attending. Do you think Canada should have reconsidered that, or do you think that, better the way they just go ahead with that?
Definitely, I think they should reconsider that.
Do you also think that maybe it's fair enough for them to say, okay, you know what, maybe you guys can do whatever you want to do now, since you want to go along,
Yes, yes.
with everything you want to do, just go along with whatever you're doing, and, we'll do whatever we want to do.
Right.
Do you think they should have maybe in some way just reconsider that?
Yeah, for sure. It's always good, especially being neighboring countries, right? That we have to get along just as much as the next person, right? Especially with the trading, a lot of goods, and importing and exporting.
Yeah.
Right? We have to have good relationships with the states to get those things. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes Canada have to be the bigger person.
Yeah, in the room, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you mentioned trade, which is critical. When you open the bridge, you give more room for trading, right? So, and when you give more room for trading, then it allows you to strengthen trade and travel,
Right.
between Canada and the United States.
Yeah.
Do you see it bringing jobs, strengthening the economy and then even businesses?
I do, yeah. I feel like opening the economy or the bridge again would change and help the economy, right?
Okay.
Lots of people nowadays opening businesses and having new ideas. So they might want to bring that to the States. They might want to bring their business to the States or bring their business to Canada, right? And then with that bridge being closed, they don't have that opportunity, right? So it being open, it's more opportunity and more for other people to experience, right, on both sides.
And since you cross the border, especially even, driving to the States, you feel the same?
I feel, yeah. I 100% agree with what he just said.
Do you think the situations reflect border shift in the States and Canada relations, or is this simply a disagreement over a specific project? Do you think it strengthens relationship?
again, this could be stemming from, you know, them just being angry at each other, all right? Something about maybe they got upset at one thing, and then they're hurting the people to go through back and forth to this bridge, right? So again, you know, people have to just open up and see the real picture, right? See that you know, it's not just about it's about society, it's about the community, right? Opening up and letting people through. So I feel like it's important. It's important. Again, we are like the States and Canada are like brothers, right? So we have to have a good relationship with them, so we know that things are going to be in place, like importing goods and exporting goods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
It's
like
also setting an example for the peoples as well, right? And we usually go based off the leader of the country. And if the leader is doing one thing, then basically we're the people that's under their guidance is also going to try to follow them, right? So it would be better to be in a good page with, you know, both countries, right? We stand together, work together, and people will get along, you know? Countries will get along, things will move smoothly.
Yeah, that's cool. Would you like to congratulate Canada, and would you like to also extend that congratulations to the States on the opening of this major infrastructure project?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a good thing for Canada and the United States, right? It's a good way to open up opportunities for both ways, for both sides of the country.
I do have families in the U.S. as well, so
Yeah, a lot of
I would like
Canadians.
to congratulate both sides.
Yeah, a lot of Canadians have families, friends,
Yeah,
you know.
they want to come either
Right.
come
You
over
know,
to the border.
And when you open the bridge, it's kind of, you know, strengthen that relationship
Right.
within the two countries, whether for business or for family, for friendship. You know, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
No
guys.
worries.